G'day and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be looking at what's happening in the markets, checking in on some key indicators, seeing which tokens are making moves. We'll unpack some of the latest headlines and have a general look around what's happening in the crypto domain today. So if we get into some of the numbers to start with, we can see that we're seeing not great moves up or down in any of the numbers really. We've seen the Coinbase app drop down to 397 in the rankings now. We have a total market cap of 2.76 trillion. We have a 24-hour volume of 49.1 billion. And we have a Bitcoin dominance of 60.8. So it's been sitting around that 60, 61 for the last few days at least. The market cap hasn't moved much either. And the volume is still down. I mean, it's moved up a little bit based on yesterday, but not materially, I wouldn't say. We don't have any ETF flows because it's the weekend. If we look at the indicators, the Pi cycle top is basically flat on what it was yesterday as a ratio. The historic risk has moved down slightly, but again, none of these moves are material for any of the indicators. We've got the MVRV-Z score at 1.78. So let's have a quick look at that. We'll look at that indicator today. So with the MVRV-Z score, what this does, it shows us the market cap, like the realized market cap against the standard deviation market cap. It's used to assess if the market is overvalued. And what it does, it's a way to tell how far the current price is from the average price for people. So if it's getting too high up here, what it will generally mean is that people are getting greedy. And then obviously too low, it means it's a good opportunity to buy, basically. So we've seen it coming down over the cycles. But what we really look for in this is, at the moment, you could almost say if you're looking above 6, it's a good opportunity to sell. And if you're looking below 0, it's a good opportunity to accumulate. So this is definitely one of the tools that I've used during the bear market. Because one of the things that you will see is it aligns quite well with the price in a way that you can see where it peaks up here at the peak of this cycle. So let's stretch out this cycle, right? So let's stretch out the 17 cycle. What we can see is we had a peak. It peaked December, and the price was December. So around December, we're seeing that peak. If you then move on 12 months from that, do you see what we have? We have the low. So from the peak to the low, we're seeing 12 months, right? December. And look, I'm not trying to get exact days, although, that one there says 17th. That one there says 16th, I think. But I'm not looking for exact days. You look to DCA. Like I DCA, I'm not a trader. I look to DCA when I see opportunities and I feel the price is around where I want it to be. You're never going to get the bottom. You're never going to get the top. So, but something like that, I think is a reasonable guide. So we look at that. That's the 17 cycle. Let's see how that translates to 21 cycle. Okay, so we're saying over here, we're saying November was the peak. Okay. And then if we then go looking for around a bottom, which is probably this one here, we're in November, right? So we had the peak in November 21. We had the bottom around November 22. So again, 12 months. So I find it a good tool to look for that. The question is, where are we in this cycle? Have we peaked? Most people are obviously thinking we haven't. We're thinking the second half of the year is where we're going to see that, and potentially, somewhere in that fourth quarter. It could happen earlier, or we may have already seen it. And if we've already seen it, that means we're putting a peak around January, right? Somewhere around here is your peak, which would be, gee, keep an eye out for January 2026 and see what the market is as an accumulation zone, if that were the case. But that's how I use that indicator, which is why I find it quite a good one. So I will use that in both the bull market and the bear market. Obviously, in the bull market, it's to look at the range of where you could potentially get at. But again, if you were back in this cycle and you were going, look, we're looking for above 8, and it got to here, which is 7, then you mightn't be selling. So you can't use any indicator in isolation. You need to look at a combination of indicators, as I do, and I look at other charts as well. But they're some of the main indicators that then tell me to start digging into some of the other stuff more, if that makes sense. Okay, let's look at the top 100 for the day. So, bit of a mixed bag today. Bit of green, bit of red. You know, we're seeing Chainlink 4.8. Chainlink being realistically the main oracle for crypto. So many projects use it. Like, majority of projects use Chainlink as the oracle to bring the data on chain. We then look down. Polkadot 3.2. I remember last cycle, early on, how that was, all the talk was around Polkadot and Cardano, and their market caps were very similar. You know, both of the founders were part of the Ethereum team. Litecoin 3.3. Near 4.2. Look, Potenza again, and Potenza's at 12.8. We can see that going up. Been talking about it the last few days. Render as well, last few days. You can see that chart moving up slowly, 4.7. Which probably means, where's the other one? Which probably means Filecoin again, the storage coin. There you go, FET. All AI plays, 8.8. You can see that chart over there. What else we got down here? EOS. Quant, 3.5. That's the 20022. Never know how to say that, but it's one of those protocols. Filecoin. It's like those four are sort of the ones that have been making some moves. The graph as well. Let's have a look at the crypto bubbles. Okay, let's look at the top 100. So Near, as I said, Filecoin, Link, Tau, FET, Render. What else we got? Pepe. I don't know what this one is. Dexy. I'm assuming it's some kind of centralized exchange, but I do not know. Do not quote me on that one. Let's have a look at the 100 to 200. Oh, we talked about this one. That was that AI companion. Mantra. T-Fuel, we spoke. Brett, down. 5.8. You got Tel, so that's telecommunications, like mobile telecommunication project. Yeah, that's a community, I think it's a community run thing that's working on like onboarding people to crypto. They've got a tap to earn game or something like that. Oh, Arkham. It's an analysis platform. Another AI. Let's have a look at the 200 to 300. We've got Engine, which I mentioned the last couple of days. Again, that's the gaming, so it's like an infrastructure coin. It's like a creation platform, I believe. Again, it's been around for a while. Like, it was probably the main gaming token, at least at the beginning of the last cycle. Coddy, that allows people to build like payment platforms. It's actually, they built the Cardano, one of the Cardano, the stable coin, the DJED, that was built by the Coddy team. Redstone, that's another Oracle. The it says like DeFi protocols, like Compound, Pendle, Lido, things like that. Peanut again. Okay, let's get into the news. Let's start with this article here. Charles Schwab managing 10 trillion to launch spot Bitcoin trading by April 2026 under CEO Rick Wurster. Charles Schwab Corp managing over 10 trillion in assets and serving 37 million customers. Wow. Has announced plans to launch spot Bitcoin and crypto trading services within the next 12 months. With a target start date of mid-April 2026, so 12 months away. The decision follows a reported 400% surge in visits to the firm's crypto education portal, signalling significant investor interest in digital assets, which is not a surprise given that that we've got BlackRock, Grayscale, Van Eck, all those now into it. Schwab is poised to capitalise on more favourable regulatory environment in the United States, which obviously then gives them more confidence, right? They need that regulatory environment. The company's entry into crypto space is seen as a strategic shift aiming to leverage its position as a financial giant with assets valued at $138 billion. So yeah, that's great news for the industry. I think we're just going to see more and more of this, right? From once BlackRock was in, it just sort of opened the doors for everyone, I feel. And you got with the ETFs and that. Next article, Ethereum upgrades could boost scalability, payments role, Binance. I mean, it needs to do something. Ethereum definitely has not performed the way people were expecting or were hoping. And it's definitely going to be driven by the clunkiness of it, the cost of the gas fees, the speed of the network. I mean, it's first mover, right? So it's got that first mover advantage. It's got a lot of projects on it. It's got a lot of developers. It's got layer twos, which try to fix that speed and cost issue. According to new findings from Binance Research, Ethereum's upcoming Petra and Fusaka upgrades could mark a turning point for the network scalability and long-term potential in crypto payments. Solana and BNB Smart Chain are gaining ground in decentralized exchange volumes and fees due to faster speeds and lower costs, as I said. Binance attributes this trend to Ethereum's current limitations, including high fees, slow transaction speed, and fragmented ecosystem of developers and liquidity. The rise of Layer 2 networks, which I mentioned. Petra upgrade now scheduled for May 2025. So we've got a few things coming out in May to keep an eye out. This being one, you've got some stuff happening for Kaspa as well, which I know, there are a lot of wallet holders for that. And incorporates 11 Ethereum improvement protocols. So the EIP. So among these, EIP 7251, which increases the maximum effective staking balance from 32 ETH to 2,048 ETH. Wow, that is a huge increase. Helping to manage the load of over 1 million active validators, EIP 7691, which will expand blob capacity, allowing more data to be posted to the mainnet while keeping costs low, which is the big sticking point for Ethereum. The updates are designed to increase scalability and usability, potentially making Ethereum more practical for high-volume crypto payment use cases. And then the other one, Fusaka, scheduled for late 2025, will also enhance Ethereum scalability, which is what it needs, right? But let's see it happen. See what the impact is. To be honest, I think people shouldn't be rooting against Ethereum. We want Ethereum to succeed because it helps the market, and it's really a sort of a trendsetter for the rest of those bigger altcoins like your Solana, your BSC, your Cardano. There's an ETF for it, which we saw yesterday is getting no volume at all. We want this to succeed if we want the other ones to succeed as well, and for there to be future ETFs. We need to not be maxis for the good of the whole industry. It's not going away. So yes, if you want decentralized, you get things like Kaspa, proof of work. It's decentralized, like Bitcoin, but faster, right? And they're releasing things. But you can't be a maxi and say that's the only thing that's going to be good for the industry, because that ship sailed. We have BlackRock, we have Grayscale, we have regulation coming. Get on board with it for the good of the industry. Okay, the last article for today is Cardano's Hoskinson criticises White House exclusion. So if you remember, we had that massive run up for Cardano. It sat around that 24, 30 cents, around that range for so long. All of a sudden, we got that pump when there was news that Hoskinson had, connections to, RFK Jr., the White House, whatever, right? So the fact that he addresses his exclusion from the White House crypto roundtable, he emphasized long-term crypto policy reform, opting to prioritize legislative stability over short-term political collaborations. Now, everything I've seen from Charles, from his streams to anything he's talked about, I do believe he has the whole industry at heart. I do believe he wants to see the whole industry succeed. I know he's backtracked on some of the things he said about other projects, but some of those would have been because he was under attack as well, right? So I do think he does. He's definitely got the people, the crypto industry, I think, their best interests at heart. When you look at, his main goal was to bank the unbanked, to give IDs to these people, to, you have property in that in Africa and they don't have the documentation to support it. So, putting things like deeds onto the blockchain and all that sort of stuff, he's been very big on that. Africa was definitely a focus early on for Cardano. But again, its use case can be used everywhere, right? And he's definitely been pushing that. He advocates a sustainable framework, emphasizing legislative over political solutions. Hoskinson described the meeting as serving optics without transitioning into effective policy and advancements. Hoskinson's absence from political summits hasn't negatively impacted Cardano's reputation, mirroring XRP's experience as long-term adoption relies more on solid project fundamentals than political visibility. And look, the reality is, we all know Cardano and the ADA community are probably the biggest, or at least one of the biggest communities in crypto, probably along with the XRPs, and very similar in that they're rusted on. So the good news got more people in and got that price spiking, but this sort of news, a lot of Cardano holders are long-term thinkers. They're not day traders. There is day trading obviously on it, but a lot of the holders aren't day traders, so that's probably why we haven't had a massive drop on the back of this news at the moment. Okay, and that's it for today's look around the crypto domain. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, make sure to give the video a like, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you're new to crypto or just want a solid refresher, check out our brand new Block to Basics education series. I'll be posting regular episodes over the next month to help you get your head around the blockchain world, one block at a time. Just, as I said, it's really geared at the new investor, the new person coming into crypto, trying to help them not get scammed, trying to help them get an understanding of terminologies, what blockchain's all about, a bit about the history of it, you know, and how to go about, you know, your journey and your adventure in crypto. So, you know, check that out if you're interested in it. I'll have a link to one of the videos after this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.